Welcome to our morning show on WRCO. We're here to talk about Miracle on 34th Street, a live radio play presented by River Valley Players. Once again, in the studio with us, we're pleased to see him again, a guy who's a legend in these parts, in fact, from our beloved Richland campus previously, Mr. Patrick Hagan. How are you?
Hey, Phil. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. It was a year ago when you were here with your cast.
Yeah. We may be setting a pattern here.
I hope so.
For talking about a show. So this year it's Miracle on 34th Street, a live radio play, and we're going to do it the first weekend in December. And we're excited to spend some time with you today or this morning talking about the show, introduce you to some of the characters, even some readings from the show, so that people get a taste of what we're serving up.
How did it go last year? Was it well received?
Oh, we had nearly 500 people come to Wonderful Life. We proved that back in 1947, River Valley actually had a national broadcasting company called the River Valley Players, and they were doing live shows. So we proved that last year, and this year we're back to just firm that up.
Why 1947? Is that kind of the radio age, the magical age?
It is, and it also happens to be the year that both Wonderful Life, the film, and A Miracle on 34th Street came out.
I didn't realize that, I guess.
Yeah, so we're attached to that.
Wow. So people know the film quite well, I'm sure, and there have been many adaptations of that over the years, haven't there?
There have, yeah. And of course, I think it made Natalie Wood famous as a child actor. And a lot of people, think of this film and think of her because her mother brought her up, not to believe in Santa Claus and other things like giants and these sort of things. So Kris Kringle is there to bring her to her sense of imagination in this story. But the fun thing about this show, in fact, with the 1947 film, when they were getting ready to distribute it, they didn't really know what to call it because it has so many different aspects. Doris Walker, Susan's mother, learns to fall in love again, and Fred Gailey, her love interest, learns to believe in himself, and Kris Kringle brings his spark of humanity and inspires everyone in the show. So it's got so many facets, and then there's this young girl learning how to be a kid again.
Yeah. It's got all the makings of a Christmas classic, that's for sure. And on the radio, we've got to use that theater of the mind again, right?
Ah, yes. Love the theater of the mind. And it's really fun for, I think the actors could maybe talk about this too. Most of you haven't done theater of the mind before, a radio play, right? So what we're trying to do is create pictures, because families like my mother used to sit around the radio and listen to these stories with her family. And I know you do some of that kind of retro stuff here at WRCO, but these are, special moments in people's lives from that time. They remember them distinctly. I know my mother does. And so we're trying to recreate for the audience, the live audience, this sense of sitting at home and listening to a radio play. Now, they are on stage and they are interacting with each other, so they're playing a bit for the audience, but it's mainly to use their words and their voices to create a story.
There's an additional part of the story, though, that you've written into around this. Is that correct?
Yeah. I decided there's these two actors, Salem Joseph and Hildy Van Hallgren, and I wanted to do something special for them and tell a contemporary story around the radio play story. So Hildy Van Hallgren plays this girl named Danielle, and she's always been the chief elf for her grandfather Santa. This year she's on protest and she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to play. She rejects it. And so when her grandpa goes out to be Santa Claus, she sits in the janitor's closet and happens to turn on the radio. And it happens to be WRCO, currently in 2025, broadcasting a recording from 1947. So this kid, Danielle, sits there and listens to it. In the course of the story, she changes her mind about dressing up and helping Grandpa out by being the chief elf.
I love it. Thanks for the plug there, by the way. That's nice.
Well, we love WRCO.
Yeah, well, thank you. No, that's really cool. And I think people will be transported back in time. And even if they didn't grow up in that time of old-time radio, imagine what it was like, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
And what about this? A play like this, you don't have to have as many stage props and flats and those kind of things, right?
Yeah, we're creating a similar environment on the stage to what we have here. in the studio. There's some chairs and maybe an end table and so forth, it's getting up to the mic and doing your thing that's important. We're going to have some Christmas decorations, and there's going to be garlands on the front and poinsettias, and so we'll have it, nicely fixed up. We'll have bows on the mics, but it's basically a radio studio.
Do you worry about wardrobe in a situation like this or not?
We do. We're trying to address people as 1947 professional radio actors. So they're going to be wearing, that kind of style, but we're not trying to bring out their particular character. Like Heidi Zepeda, who's sitting here, is playing Doris Walker. She's not going to be necessarily in a Doris Walker outfit like you might see in a stage play, but she'll have like 1947 sort of contemporary look.
How many times are you putting this presentation on, Patrick?
Well, it's part of Country Christmas in Spring Green, which runs the first weekend in December. I think there are some activities in the second one, but it's so December 4th through 7th at the Guard Theater in Spring Green. And on the 4th, which is opening night, that's a Thursday, we have a 7 p.m. show. Friday night, there's other stuff going on, so there's no Miracle on that night. But on Saturday, again, we have a 7 p.m. show. And then on Sunday, we have a 1 p.m. matinee and a 6 p.m. show. So 2 on one day.
At the Historic Guard Theater.
At the Historic Guard Theater.
Yeah, wonderful. So we're going to bring on a couple of scenes for this particular program. We're going to take a break and come back. But anything you want to say before we take a break here?
Well, I just encourage people to come out and, see the show. I think right now we need something like this. We need something that talks about kindness and love and understanding each other. And that's what Kris Kringle, who you'll hear shortly, that's what he teaches in this story. So, and there's all kinds of vocalists singing, his traditional Christmas songs in a jazz style. So it's going to be a little bit like a variety show. It's going to be a lot of fun stuff. So I hope that people will consider coming out. And they can get tickets online at rivervalleyplayers.org and get them online. You can go to North Earth Crystals and Gifts in Spring Green and purchase tickets in person. Or you could buy tickets the day of the show, although, we're kind of hoping that we maybe sell 1 or 2 out. So.
Good luck to that. We'll try to help in that. We'll try to pass the word.
Thank you, Phil.
Coming up, Heidi Zepeda, Robert Humphreys, and also Dan Hemming. They will play some parts, and we'll hear some readings from Miracle on 34th Street, a live radio play, which is going on again the first weekend of December. We'll have more in the Morning Show studios in just a moment.
So this is a scene in which Doris, who works for Macy's department store, is questioning Chris about his identity, and she's very, very skeptical of his claim that he is indeed Santa Claus.
So, you always tell the truth, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Look at your employment card.
Name, Kris Kringle. Address, Brooks Memorial Home, Great Neck, Long Island. You may call the home if you care to confirm that, Mrs. Walker. It's a home for elderly gentlemen.
Would you also like to confirm this?
What's that?
Date of birth. As old as my tongue and a bit older than my teeth. Place of birth. North Pole. Now, really.
Why, I believe you doubt me, Mrs. Walker.
And this tops everything. Next of kin.
Oh, that.
Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, and Vixen. I'm sorry to have to do this, Mr.
Kringle.
Wonderful. A scene from Miracle on 34th Street. Very nice there. Heidi and Robert doing the honors for that. As they're turning pages, maybe I can ask you a couple of questions. Heidi, is this your first production, or how many times have you been involved with the Players?
So, I was just recalling that I did a show probably in the 90s, so that kind of dates me a little bit. I did a Dracula when I was in high school, so it's great to be back. I grew up in Spring Green, actually got a first love for the theater as a child actor at APT back in 1996. Moved away, so just moved back to the area a few years ago. So super excited to rejoin with River Valley Players.
Once the acting bug bites you, it's tough to get that out of your system, I
It
think.
does, especially when you drink the water of Spring Green. I think it's something in the water. We all want to be performers or creative.
Be creative, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
A
So
great place for the arts. I think there is something really special about that town.
yeah, and getting together again, it's a more unique presentation, whereas you don't have props and you don't I guess you dress the part a little bit, but yeah, it's a little bit different gig, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a fun challenge. Like Patrick said, we have to really use our voices and to convey and to act. And I think now in this digital world where we're so visually stimulated, I think this will be a great challenge for our audiences and also for us as performers, where I can't rely so much on my gestures and facial expressions. So I think it'll be a really great challenge and a lot of fun.
Tell us about your character, Doris.
Yeah, so, Doris is a very independent, strong woman. She's divorced. So in the 40s, this was, not as common. And she's a really sort of a career woman, really focused. She's a single mom, which, I think has probably turned a lot of heads for that era, too. And she was referred to, I don't maybe want to give too much of the lines away, but this is edited. Her character is referred to as a lost soul. My interpretation when I first heard that was, because she's a woman on her own without, the guidance of a man. So I think especially for that era, that's, unnerving. So just having to be really strong in her constitution and doesn't want to, be disillusioned, if I will quote her, by the falseness of her own realities. But I think she's been so closed off, her heart starts to open up to love and believing in things beyond herself.
Were you familiar with the story of Miracle on 34th Street before? Or?
A little bit. I think it was a movie I might have seen in the past, but I got reacquainted with it when I saw the audition, and really, I knew right away when I, saw the film before the auditions that was a role I really wanted. So, really, really excited I get to play Doris.
Yeah, good. Well, thanks for coming into the studios again today. We have another scene, I believe, that is going to be performed. We have Robert Humphreys and we have Dan Hemming to create the next scene from Miracle on 34th Street.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Dan. I'm playing the lawyer, Fred Gailey, and Robert, who plays Chris. He's coming out of the Brooks Memorial Home and is going to be moving in, at least temporarily, with Fred, and that's the scene that we're about to enact for you here. So, take whichever bed you want, Mr. Kringle.
You're very kind, really. Tell me, Mr. Gailey, just what is it you do for a living?
Oh, I'm a lawyer. Hazlip, Sherman, and Mackenzie.
And you like living in the city?
Well, it's convenient. But someday I'd like to get a place on Long Island. Not a big house, just one of those junior partner deals around Manhasset.
Oh, one of those little colonial houses, eh?
Yeah. A little colonial house would be swell.
Good, yes. You're very fond of Mrs. Walker, aren't you?
A lot of good it does me. She lives in a cast iron shell. Hard to break through, Mr. Kringle.
Oh, well, you must try a little harder, Mr. Gailey. Mrs. Walker and that child are a couple of lost souls, and it's up to us to help them.
Oh?
Yes, she, well, shall I turn out the light?
No.
No?
I'm not going to be cheated out of this. All my life, I've wondered about it, and now I'm going to find out. Tell me, does Santa Claus sleep with his whiskers inside or outside the covers?
Oh, outside, of course. Outside by all means. The cold air makes them grow.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wonderful. Nice job. Oh, my goodness. Good stuff. Well, Robert, you told me that you'd been on WRCO, but it had been a long time ago. Do you remember that production?
Yes, I think that goes... Well, actually, that was for a choral concert that we were doing with the community choir in Spring Green some years ago. In terms of River Valley Players, it's been well over 20 years since I was last in a production. And incidentally enough, that was also a Christmas performance. That was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, an adaptation. And I played Ebenezer Scrooge.
Wow.
So the complete opposite of Kris Kringle in terms of holiday characters.
Well, you talk about iconic roles, though. Scrooge and Kris Kringle.
Yes.
I mean, wow.
Santa Claus. And it's not the first time I've played Santa Claus, too. I think I've donned a Santa Claus suit once or twice in the past for some events.
What took you so long to come back to River Valley Players, though? 20 years between roles?
I've just been a very busy person.
Okay.
And I think this is a role that suited me. So.
How long have you lived in the River Valley area?
Well, you can probably tell that I'm not from here originally. And, I was actually born in Wales, so across the Atlantic, and I've been living in this country for many years, and met my wife, who had family connections to the Spring Green area, and so we've lived in Spring Green for about 25 years, raised our family here, and it's an absolutely wonderful place to live and make our home.
As you were reading, you know what I was thinking was the fact that when you listen to old time radio, because I've listened to a lot of the old productions, but there were a lot of people with accents such as yours, or I think people, when they spoke back then, it was closer probably to the King's English than it is now, right?
Yes, I think there was something called the transatlantic accent or the mid-Atlantic accent that was actually cultivated by radio performers and announcers and even movie actors, and that was very common in that era.
With the production of Scrooge, then, was that the typical play, or was it a radio play back then?
That was actually a stage play where we had costumes and we were actually acting everything out on stage, not a radio play. But
a little bit different, and you can still have your script. You don't have to be off script for this, right?
Yes, that's true. We read from the script, which makes it a little bit easier. But I think probably by the time we actually perform, we'll have most of it on our heads anyway.
Mm-hmm, probably true, but you do have to read it well.
Yes,
and not get kind of lazy with it and everything like that.
That's true. That's true.
Right. Good. And also Dan Hemming. Dan, you've had your chance to be in some of these productions before, haven't you?
I've been involved with theater for a long time. This is my first production ever, though, with the River Valley Players. So I'm really excited to branch out to a group I haven't been involved with, and it's been nothing but a whole bunch of fun so far.
Do you live in the River Valley area then?
I wish I did. No, my wife and I, we live in Darlington, so a little bit of a drive. But we've been involved with theater since high school. If maybe even if you want to go all the way back to 8th grade, play is when the acting bug was bit with a show back then. But yeah, it's just fun to explore different ways of telling the story and different groups to tell that story with. So I'm excited.
Has the cast taken up a collection for a gas card for you or anything?
No, I don't know if I'm the farthest driving one. There's others that have a drive as well. But I also, my day job, as it were, is at APT. So I come up to Spring Green regularly anyway. So it kind of dovetailed nicely to be able to, I had some quote unquote free time in the evenings after the summer season let up. So I'm like, well, I'll give the RVP a try. And it's been a lot of fun.
Was it successful this year at APT?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we had a very wonderful, successful season. Thank you to anybody out there who came and saw any of the shows or supported APT in any way. Yeah, it's just it's a wonderful place for storytelling, as many people in the area, I'm sure, are aware of. And to actually be able to work there as a house manager, getting to see and be there for probably 95% of the performances, it's just it fills your heart with all the stories and all the I guess magic of the theater, to use an expression, I suppose. But to be able to be there and not only just watch the shows, but watch the patrons watch the show and hear from them how this theatrical arts that everyone in this room is at least familiar with, if not very much a part of, or has had as a vocation or hobby at least throughout our lives, how that's so needed and how that is so central to the core of what it is a human. And to be able to see that on our patrons' faces at American Players has been an equal part of the blessing of being able to work there. And I suppose in a way that's an intangible challenge when we're doing a radio show, because and I'm sure you feel this a little bit every day. You're talking and sharing whatever it is that you share here at WRCO with that listener out there that you don't get direct feedback from, but you know that they're out there listening, and it's just enjoyable to be able to share and tell stories.
Are any of the actors from APT going to come and critique you or anything? Or
I don't know. I did see several folks in the company that work at APT. I saw them at one of the productions last year. And some of the company members were not the actors per se, but other folks that work at APT were in It's a Wonderful Life last year. So there could be a few folks, yeah. I'm not doing it for critique. I'm doing it to share stories and to meet some wonderful people and, to share the holiday spirit, because that is what this show centers us back around to. And boy, in 2025, I think we need some of that.
We do. We need to escape a little bit once in a while. Yeah. Did you grow up listening to the radio, by the way?
To a degree, I guess somewhat similar to Patrick. My mom is of that generation of growing up listening to the radio rather than watching television. So yeah, that was the way before televisions were in every home. I mean, that was the way everyone colloquially, or not colloquially, but commonly were able to hear and share news and stories and entertainment and whatnot. They gathered around the radio for decades before the video signals came into our rooms. And like I think Heidi was saying a few minutes ago, in our visually overstimulated world and TikTok videos that if it's longer than 30 seconds of visual and you get bored with it, you just thumb scroll it away. Yeah. Well, this is a different beast. This is a way that more closer, I think, in some ways to the way stories have been told for more generations. And yeah, let's get back to that, and let's challenge our audiences in a fun way to, we talked about this earlier, the theater of the mind, exploring that theater of the mind. And that has been a really interesting and unique challenge. I'm so used to, as I think my fellow actors are, fully acting something out on stage with props and scenery and movement and interacting and having your lines memorized. And in this just offers that different challenge, because it's intended for someone like whoever's listening to this broadcast this morning, using their imagination, and you have to put everything that can paint that picture in your voice. And that is part of what I think helps us all with that, is to imagine it ourselves, to imagine the street with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in 1947. One of the early scenes, Doris's daughter, Susan, and I are looking out the window, and there's these huge floats. And if you can imagine that huge float in your mind, then hopefully that comes across in your voice, and it paints that picture. Maybe it'll be a little different picture in your mind as opposed to somebody else's mind, but we all have that kind of ancestral memory, or I'm not sure what word I'm looking for, but that memory of, hopefully we can connect with the audience, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and paint those pictures of what is going on in the story. And maybe some folks will be thinking more directly of the movie, one of the movie versions, and if that helps them come along with the story, that's wonderful too.
Maybe they close their eyes and they can see it in black and white, right?
They could.
Like the original movie.
That would be wonderful. Well, we could do that in black and white. I think we'll all wear black and white. No.
There you go. What about your character?
Fred. Fred is an up-and-coming lawyer, and he has a lot of hope, but struggles with kind of, is he doing a worthwhile job? Where does his purpose in the world? And I think it kind of boils down to, not to give too much away, but again, a lot of people probably know a lot about this story, is he finds through Chris and through his new relationship with Doris that having faith in something that common sense tells you not to do is kind of the key to life. All these intangible, the magic of Christmas or the hope in humanity, that's not something to dismiss. That's not something to live without. We need that now, again, as he did back in 1947, post World War II. I mean, we need that belief in the better thing that we can all aspire to. And there's lots of different iterations of that of what that could be for different people in different situations. Here we're talking about it as, you know, the magic of Christmas and Santa Claus and the promise that brings to people and to children. And if you dismiss that outright, that, or at least that being open to that kind of hope in the wonderment of the world and the goodness of the world, then that's kind of leaves you in a bleak and desolate place, and it lets you become unanchored, adrift, if you will, in a sea of despair, to keep spinning literary here, I suppose. But coming back to finding whatever that faith in something is, in that human spirit, the goodness of the human spirit is central to us all. And well, it's a holiday play, so I think it has to have a happy ending, and we do find that, and we hope that you'll find that as you come along on the journey with us.
You bet. We hope a lot of people will. Well, the three actors have done well. Anything any of you would like to add here this morning to our broadcast? Why people should come see the show?
This is a story that's going to resonate with, I think, people of all ages and people of all backgrounds, and you know, I think everyone will come to it and will take away from it, I think, a sense of the magic of Christmas. And one of the things I like about my character, Kris Kringle, is that he is he's somewhat ambiguous, you know, and there's a lot of ambiguity in this story about whether he really is Santa Claus or if he's just a man who believes he's Santa Claus. And without giving too much away, I think that's kind of an open, even towards the end of the story. And so I think that when people come to this play and watch this story, listen to this story, they'll be bringing something of themselves as well, and they'll be interpreting it through their own experiences and their own perceptions of what the holiday means. And my hope is that it enriches that experience for them, and again brings a little bit of the magic of the season. And as others have said that, you know, this morning, you know, brings some more of that spirit of kindness and acceptance and inclusion that we really need right now.
The other thought I had of you when you were reading Sebastian Cabot. Do you know who that is? Patrick?
Oh, of course.
And I think he might have played Kris
Mr. French?
I think he played Kris Kringle. You'll look it up, but I think he did it in one
Edwin
of the...
Gwynn, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can look that up.
One of the adaptations, so there you go. He was of English descent, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah. Heidi, anything else that you wanted to add today?
I think I would just echo what everybody else said. You know, I think there is a character in this show that I think everybody will be able to relate to and resonate with. You know, if it's Fred, who just has a very optimistic, open view, or maybe it's Doris that's a little closed, or Kris Kringle, who wants to bring love and joy and encourage people to see the world through a different lens. You know, I think there's somebody in this show, and not to mention all the other characters who are delightful and funny in their own right, but I think there's something for everybody for this show, and it's the Christmas spirit. And get out and share the joy of the magic of Christmas, because it comes once a year. And then once the 31st comes, we'll all be like, man, I didn't do anything for Christmas this year. I should have went to that play.
Yes. Spring Green Country Christmas,
Yes.
a small town Christmas, and yeah, it's kind of the frosting on the cake. Patrick, anything else you want to add today? Huh?
Well, I'm thinking it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Well, you'll hear that song at this show. And one thing that didn't get mentioned much, Phil, is the 16 elves. We have 6 stage elves, and we have 10 house elves. And they're going to play an important part in telling this story that you don't want to miss. And it's possible that at the end of the show, Santa Claus might show up in the audience, too. So there's a lot to look forward to. Good music, good radio play acting, and a story that really warms your heart, and I think will take you home and put you in a good frame of mind for the holidays.
I was thinking of you as a director. You have talented people like this here. You really don't have to do a lot, do you? You just kind of...
No, they just auditioned, and I was like, oh my goodness, such talent.
Yeah.
It really is. Robert, I think you used the word, or maybe it was Dan, blessing. It is a blessing to be working with you guys. You're so talented, and it's really coming along great. And so we'll have a lot of fun.
How can people get tickets then in advance?
Well, there's 3 possibilities. You
Okay.
can go to rivervalleyplayers.org, and you can buy them online, and they'll email you your tickets. Or you can go to North Earth Crystals and Gifts in Spring Green on Jefferson Street and walk in the store. Robert's wife, Jenna, is an owner.
All right.
And buy some tickets from Jenna.
I love that. That's old school right there.
Yeah. And you could also come the day of the show and get a ticket. It's $10 for adults, and for 12 and under, it's $5. We have some great sponsors that have helped us pay for this show. It does cost a lot of money to run a show, and we wanted to keep the price as low as possible. So that's very important to us, so that everyone can have access to this show.
All right. Great. Thanks for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil.
Here's to a good holiday season and Miracle on 34th Street. Patrick Hagan, the director, along with Heidi Zepeda and Robert Humphreys and Dan Hemming joining us on the morning show. They're all representing River Valley Players.